Welcome to Dev Cafe Society. We're a society of crypto enthusiasts who value blockchain ideals and are eager to learn. This is our third segment of SHills, and we'd like to welcome Daniel from Forge as our guest. Welcome, Daniel. We value everyone's time, so we made it a priority to provide our members quality over quantity when selecting projects to host on our SHills. This AMA will be a little bit different than your traditionally long AMAs that usually last over an hour. Here, we'll get straight to the point and allow Daniel to speak for 15 minutes. He is basically going to give us his pitch, and once finished, we will stop recording. The floor will then be open for everyone for discussion. The video will be pinned and frequently posted in our Telegram for several days to give society members who couldn't attend the live session an opportunity to watch and contribute any questions they might have for the dev. And if there are post-AMA questions, we'll then be posting the answers in a follow-up voice recording we'll receive back from Daniel. The goal is to provide everyone a brief overview of the project and hope you'll learn something new that's being built in the space, and check out Forge Telegram if further interested. So let's get started. Daniel, can you please tell us about your project, Forge?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Daniel. I'm one of the co-founders. Michael here in the chat is one of our other co-founders, or our other co-founders. We have two. So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown about our project. We're a little bit unconventional in the way we operate and the way we think. So it's a lot to unpack in a short period of time, but we'll do our best. Okay. So Forge Finance is what we like to call an innovative project that's faceted on yield farming and NFTs. We take a bit of an unconventional approach to building a project. What we're focused on first and foremost is educating people to become better persons in order for them to be able to make better decisions, not only within the crypto space, but also within their real life. So just bridging the gap between what they say they want and what their actions really say that they want. We call it minding the gap. We have plenty of videos on our YouTube channel if you want to check that out. We're not going to get into that because, again, a lot to unpack some of these principles. Okay. So we talked about being a bit of an unconventional project or taking an unconventional approach. The reason we say this is most projects in this space are focused on increasing buying pressure, increasing the amount of holders, and a lot of people end up swimming upstream of wasting resources because of this. We operate basically completely opposite than that. We focus on removing risk and downside. We focus on removing selling pressure because the way we see it, if you have a leaky bucket and you turn on the faucet harder, does that solve your problem? No, you just end up wasting resources, right? The bucket is still leaking, so turning on the faucet harder just creates a larger leak, and more often than not, larger problems. Okay, so we're focused on fixing the leaky bucket before turning the faucet on harder, which means, using the treasury system that we have, and I'll explain that in a second. Instead of pushing all kinds of money into traditional marketing that you see here in DeFi projects like crypto mood shop posts and KuCoin ads and CMC trending, Dextol trending, all this garbage, just in the attempt to get more exposure to people, anybody is really what people is doing. We're focused on a different target audience. We're focused on educated investors, not short time frame traders. And we're looking for educated investors that have a decent amount of capital, who are looking to predictably multiply it over longer time preferences. So expanding time frames is something that we think is really, really important and that we focus on a lot, because a lot of people in this space are getting into DeFi or these small cap tokens because they want to get rich quick. And in the pursuit of more versus closer, again, another principle that we operate based off of, you can check it on the YouTube channel. In the pursuit of more, they actually end up getting less or further away from what they really want. So we're focused, we have a large bias on closer versus more. Okay. So the way our system operates is we have our tokenomics. I'll run through them real quick. We have a 6% auto buyback on a token called Guard and a 1% auto buyback of BNB. The Guard goes to a treasury wallet, and we release an NFT every 90 days. So it's a seasonal NFT. There'll be 4 every year. We release an NFT every 90 days that rewards our holders that are holding that NFT with a percentage of the Guard rewards that we've accumulated proportionate to their size of the pool. Okay. We also have a team treasury where we're focused on maximizing and optimizing the amount of capital that we have within the treasury, because and the treasury is used in farms. So if you guys don't understand yield farming stuff, this is gonna be a little complex, but instead of taking all of the money that's coming in that normally other projects are taking and just throwing out to all these different influencers and Telegram shout outs and Twitter influencers and all this stuff, we're actually pairing pretty much everything that we get every day to maximize our buying power, because the yield that comes from our treasury we use to pay for different things. We use to pay for our utility that we're developing. We use to pay for teams. We use for rewards. We use for a number of things. But the power of using a treasury system versus what everybody else is doing is we get to pay people in the yield, and we get to keep the capital that we have, so that if we do need, or we do see value in spending a good amount of money on something, we haven't wasted all that money, right? So we actually have done very little to no paid marketing over the last 3.5 months since we've been alive. We launched on March 17th. And the reason for that is we're in a bear market, and we don't see that as far as resource allocation goes, we don't see that pouring resources into increasing price in the short term is a valuable allocation of those resources. What we see is, let's build up our power as a team through the team treasury so that we can buy back our own supply over time and consistently raise the floor while educating our holders so that we can remove selling pressure. This way we create an ever rising floor. And so the way our asset works is, it's not meant to be traded. It's not meant to just be held. It's meant to be farmed using our liquidity pool farm on NightSwap. And we also have a multi-chain NFT generator and marketplace that's being built. It's very close to being done. Right now, it supports both the Ethereum and Binance blockchains. And it's a little bit different because, excuse me, our NFT ecosystem is business centric. We're not looking to closely mirror, all these other marketplaces that are out there right now. We're looking to create distinction and value by actually bridging the gap between real world business and the crypto sphere. So bringing in some really high quality people to do that. And we have some proximity to some of the best people in the world within the business space. And we're excited to really build that out. It's going to take a little bit of time, and we're okay with that, because the way our asset is built, there's two things that are important to know. Number one, time and randomness are on our side with the strategies that we deploy. Most of these other projects, the way they're running things, time and randomness are their enemies. And what we know about time and randomness is that they are undefeated. So trying to put yourself up against them is actually it's a losing battle from the start. It's like rolling a boulder up the hill. Eventually, it's going to all come crashing down on you. Okay. By allowing people to yield other assets in a passive asset accumulation cycle using liquidity pool farming, we actually make the price of our asset irrelevant. Whereas every other project, the price is the focal point of everything that they're doing. What can we do to raise the price? What can we do to this, and that? Because our asset is a lead domino to yielding other assets for free, the price of our asset remains relatively irrelevant. So that's something that's really unique and creates distinction. There's a lot to unpack just about that, and we're not going to get into it in this video. We'll probably do a separate one. But I'm gonna pass it over to my other co-founder here, Michael, and let him touch base on any of the stuff that I talked about just quickly. So Michael, if you want to jump in here, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so, Daniel was emphasizing is we've taken the road less traveled. And a lot of stuff that he was talking about, the farming and accumulating the assets and technically compounding your interest over time is, in layman's terms, to break it down, is just a high yielding savings account, right? And there's just so much to kind of unfold in a very short little time. So, for people that are looking to invest somewhere where they don't consistently have to look at screen or have that anxiety, like a roller coaster, myself, I mine fiat during the day, which is, I have a day job that takes care of my family, which consists of kids and a wife. So, for me, and a lot of people are in situation as myself, it's very favorable to put your assets somewhere where you don't have to have this emotional roller coaster, and just know in time that's kind of in a safe nest that allows you to build a gold mine. And that gold mine spits out golden eggs, golden bars, however you want to call it, through time. I think centralized banks, and we all know this, don't even yield a 1% interest through an annual perspective. And I'm not going to throw numbers out there because we don't like to name the puppy before it's born. But if you do take a look at at our farming pools on Night Swap, great project, by the way. They're one of our partners within a pool of several projects. I think there's seven main projects in that partnership. But on Night Swap, if you take a look at the farms, you can see that it is very advantageous to establish your own farm. But there's so much more just in regarding the farm and staking. Daniel and I have been working on this pretty cool thing called an NFT generator. We've been talking about it. We've been working on it, I think, for about over 9 months now. And that thing's coming to, I'd like to say, the final leg of it actually getting finalized. And we've had to go through several versions of it. But even then, with the amount of time that we have, just want to touch base on this NFT generator. Is going to be technically, it's going to allow the artist to capture an image and or a video, and technically mint it into their own NFT and utilize that and technically however they want. But the main focus on what we're trying to teach and educate people on is how to utilize these NFTs in the business sense and utilize it in the real world. And if you can kind of, think about the steps past this, what this is going to do is take the middle person out within the wearables, the music industry, and so forth. And it's just very exciting on the back end of what we have as far as utility. It seems like we have almost an umbrella of things to discuss. But the NFT generator is definitely one of them. Everything that Daniel explained about as far as the farming, yield farming, the staking, and compounding your assets and accumulating interest, that's a huge one. I think that's one of the main pillars, right? But we also have an NFT marketplace, which is going to be a multi-chain marketplace on the Ethereum and, of course, the Binance, right? And I know there's a couple marketplaces out there that have those capabilities, but we need a home for when all these people create these amazing pieces of art or video for them to actually establish and show the world, right? So there's a lot of things that we're doing over here in Forge. It's very exciting, and I think we've been launched now since March, so we're going on our 5th month here, and it's just going to be very exciting where we're going to be, next year. A lot of these things in the pipeline that are coming out.
Well said, man. Well said. Yeah. The closing note I'll make, and then we'll cue out, is we're focused on sustainability and longevity and being on the right side of regulations. We have some very good people in our corner that are working with the top crypto law firm in the world, Fenwick. So we have some very quality people in our corner who are advising us and helping us. And our focus is sustainability and longevity, not how fast can we go, how far can we go. So I'll leave you guys with that. If you guys are interested in what we've talked about here, because it is unconventional, it's different, it's probably going to be confusing, go to our YouTube channel, watch the videos in order. There's 9 or 10 of them now, and it'll walk you through everything step by step. You'll go down the rabbit hole, and you might come out the other side having a different perspective or mindset. So that's it. That's all we got for right now. So if you want to cue out, Trigger, go ahead.
Well, there you have it. You just heard from Daniel and Michael, who gave an overview of Forge, which aims to offer sustainable high-yield interest to investors through tools such as yield farming and NFTs. I hope you found the information interesting and stick around for the discussion. Also, don't forget to check out their Telegram. Myself, I've been a little bit on the lazy side when it comes to investing in crypto, and I definitely need to learn more about yield farming. I've heard about previous project speak about yield farming and how it can create passive income, especially in this bear market. And I'm definitely going to check out to see how I can get started with that, especially if there's free information provided from Forge. You say there's a couple videos and step instructions on how to get started. So I'll leave the floor open to you guys with Cappuccino taking the lead. I know he's probably got some questions in mind and how to get everyone a little more interested in your project. Cappuccino, you have anything to add?
Okay, Daniel, we're live. Go ahead.
Cool. So I'm just going to walk you guys through a little about what Forge Finance is about, where we operate as far as a decentralized exchange. So this is NightSwap. NightSwap is an up and coming DEX. The TVL ran up to over $500 million just up to a few months ago. And the reason that we're using NightSwap is we know the team, we know the dev, we know the people behind it. It's built with a focus on sustainability like other DEXs are not. And so we highly recommend, if you're looking into yield farming for your own project or yield farming within hours or anything, check out NightSwap. It's one of the best in my opinion, and I think in the future it can have the power to rival PancakeSwap. So that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree. But the reason we focus on using NightSwap and the reason we only have a liquidity pool on NightSwap is because of their fundamentals. And their fundamentals are sustainability and longevity, just like ours. Okay, so let's walk through the process of providing liquidity and yield farming and how this stuff works. Okay, so if you've never provided liquidity before, usually on every decentralized exchange, there's 2 tabs. There's an exchange and liquidity. You go in here. When you add liquidity, you have to add equal parts to both sides. So if I'm going to add 0.5 BNB, then I need to provide 0.5 BNB worth of Forge tokens to create a liquidity pair. This allows people to transact between BNB and Forge on this exchange. Okay, the more liquidity we have, the less price impact, the more price stability, all the good stuff. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But once you've provided liquidity, you can drop your LP tokens into the LP farm right here. Okay, so the LP farm right now, the APR is 115%. The APY, assuming that you compound daily, is 218%, which is pretty fantastic. We actually have a 3x multiplier on our farm, which is higher than almost every other farm on here because we treat Night ethically. We educate our holders, and we're friends and have a close relationship with the NightSwap team. Okay, so what happens is you provide your LP tokens here, and you earn the native token of the DEX, which is Night. Okay, so you can see here Night earned. So this would count up, and once you've earned this Night, you could technically go and sell that Night and buy whatever you want, whether it's more Forge or Bitcoin or whatever your macro belief is. We go over macro beliefs and solvable problems and stuff on our YouTube channel. I'm not going to go through that right now, but essentially you're earning a high amount of yield on your assets without actually having to buy the things that you're being yielded. Okay, so your Forge BNB farm becomes a golden goose that lays golden eggs in the form of Night. Now, not only are you earning interest in Night, but you can then take that Night and you can deposit it in the raids. These are called pools on every other exchange. NightSwap calls them raids to create distinction, and it's fun. So just to clarify, but you can drop your Night into any one of these pools and earn another asset for free. So now you're earning interest on your interest. Okay, so if I get Night and I don't sell the Night, but I take the Night and I come stake it over here, I can stake it for more Night at 58% APR, or I could stake it if I wanted to earn Forge for free. at 93% APR, or I could earn guard at 18%. So you get the picture. You can use our asset and night as lead dominoes for accumulating other assets passively for free. Okay, so let's say I took my night that I earned and I put it into the Libera pool, for example. Okay, which I think I have. Let's see. I don't think it's loading. So maybe we'll try to get it to load here. Oh, I'm on the wrong wallet. That's why. Give me one sec. So I take my night personally that I'm earning right now, and I stake it in the Libera pool because the APR is fairly high, and I understand how the math works.
Terminal de-asphaltating, and I went to my business. I have a business outside of Reyes.
Hey, Michael.
Like
Michael, you're unmuted. Yeah. So I take that night that I earned from my farm and I stick it in the Libera pool and I earn Libero. So what I do here is I can harvest this at any point in time. And I have, X amount of these tokens, which then I can go to the exchange and I can sell these tokens. We'll let this transaction process. I'll actually walk you guys through this. So I can sell these coins back into BNB, which is the thing that I use to buy Forge or create my farm in the first place. Okay, so we'll go max 0.27 BNB. Not too bad for half a day of their sell taxes. I don't even want to deal with it. I should put 45. I don't care about slippage right now. But so I'm earning, let's say this comes out to be 0.1 or 0.2 BNB or after taxes. I can then take that BNB and I can go and I can buy more Forge, or I can buy Guard, or I can buy Bitcoin, or I can buy Ethereum, whatever my macro belief is, whatever I want to accumulate more of in this bear market while things are low, I can stack those things constantly every day. Okay, so if I can buy $50 or $100 of an asset every single day, and then until the next bull run hits, and then everything appreciates, you can make some exponential gains, earning interest on top of your interest and having both of those things both appreciate when the next bull cycle happens, right? So this is a very powerful strategy for a bear market. So I'm going to take this BNB. I have 0.27 here. I'll buy 0.2 of Forge. Actually, let's do 0.1, and then we'll add some liquidity. I'll show you guys. So if you want to, if you want to fatten up your golden goose, which is your Forge BNB farm, we call it the gold mine. That's the terminology we use for your farm. If you want to fatten up your gold mine so it spits out more night every day, which earns you more interest on other assets every day, then you would buy, let's say I have 0.2. I would buy 0.1 BNB of Forge. Then I would go over to the liquidity tab, and I would say I want to add the other 0.1 of BNB to the 0.1 worth of Forge that I just bought. Okay, so we have it here. Click supply, confirm supply, and then you would confirm this transaction. This is not the wallet that I do this on, so I'm going to reject it. And then you would have LP tokens that you can then, excuse me, that you can then go drop back into your liquidity pool farm to increase the amount of yield in night that you're earning daily, which increases the amount of yield that you're earning using night to earn other assets. So what you've now created is a closed loop passive asset accumulation cycle that feeds you more BNB so that you can buy some of the things that you want to buy passively for free just by providing liquidity to a DEX. Now, the value of operating this way in a project is we are scaling our liquidity. Where is it? We are scaling our liquidity right alongside our market cap. So our market cap right now is just above 300K. Our liquidity is 185K. That's over 50% if you're looking at a ratio. If you look at Guard is a much more mature asset. It's built by Nick Peterson and the Wolf Den, and that's what our yield farming strategies are kind of based off of. You can see they have a market cap of 78 million with $18 million of liquidity. Okay, having liquidity provides a liquid asset that people with a substantial amount of money can move in and out of without the fear of big big price volatility, because with increased liquidity also comes price stability, right? So not only are we scaling our market cap along with our liquidity, but as we slowly raise the floor, we're making it harder and harder for people who sell large amounts of tokens to significantly impact the price in a negative way, right? Now, it also does reduce the amount of pumping that we can do in a short period of time, but that's okay. We're not focused on pumping. Okay, Guard wasn't focused on pumping either, and it went up to over 1,000x in less than a year. Okay, they were built on sustainability. They were built on raising the floor and removing risk, not how can we get more, right? They were focused on targeting the right kind of people, bringing them in, educating them. So that education is one of the things that removes risk the most, right? Helping people understand what the asset is, how to use it, how it makes sense for them, creating a solvable problem to weigh your decisions and informed behavior. All these things are pinnacles or cornerstones of success in a project like this. You know, like how many of you guys have invested in a project in DeFi and held it for an entire year? Probably not a lot of you. It's the DeFi space moves very quickly, and everybody's trying to play this get rich quick game, when really if you look at longer time preferences, and I'll do the math for you guys. If you look at longer time preferences, let's say you started with $5,000, okay, and you're making, let's be modest, let's say you're making a 70% APY, so an interest rate of 70% for 10 years, okay? We like to operate based off of longer time preferences, like 5-10-year plans. Whatever your solvable problem is, it's unique to you, but we're going to use this as an example. If you compound this daily, we actually have an auto compounder built on the NightSwap vaults page. So if you want to use that and you don't want to click buttons, you can use that. But let's say you have $5,000 and you compound it daily and you get an average return of 70% APY, okay? And let's say you put in $100 a month. That's it. All you're adding is $100 of fresh capital in per month, okay? In 10 years, that $5,000 will turn into $7.2 million. Compounding interest adds up over time, right? You can see in the beginning here on year one, you know, you make $500 in the first year. Second year, you make $7,000. Third year, you make 12. Fourth, and then so on and so forth. And you can see as time goes on, these numbers explode exponentially towards the end of that exponential curve. But it takes time in order to get there, which is why we're focused and aligned with providing an asset where the price is irrelevant and time is on our side. Does that make sense to everybody? So this is just an example. You can go look at compounding interest calculators and play around with it. And, you know, if we look at what our APR is right now, which is 110. And keep in mind, these numbers are just projected math. This is not something that you can guarantee. So just have some skepticism, right? That's why we always operate based off of smaller amounts of interest, like 50% or 70%. But if you look at the numbers, in 5 years, you start with 5,000, 110% yearly. Our APY is actually higher. I'm using the APR, okay? Compounding daily, and you put $100 in a month. In 5 years, that $5,000 turns into 1.4 million. Okay, you tell me that you can go and trade crypto projects in the DeFi space and outpace this in 5 years. I will be impressed if you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying being a successful trader and building a large amount of wealth in this space is extremely difficult, because we have a 24-hour market and we have pigeons playing against pro chess players. Okay, it's very difficult to come out on the other side. I speak from experience. I turned $3,000-4,000 into 5 or 6 million in a year, and it was based off of using these principles and some of the other core principles and frameworks that we use. That's my personal story. But when I switched my approach and focused on compounding my interest, taking my little wins, adding them into my farm, rebuilding, a lot of things changed. And I became a much better investor. I actually became a better trader too. So it's important to broaden your time frames and not to play this like, how do I get more? Like you're up 10x and you're like, I'm going to wait until I get to 12 or 13 until I sell, right? It's the human condition. We're always pushing for, you know, how fast and how far can I go until I keel over and die? That is not what we're focused on. Things will move slow in Forge, but if you have conviction and you have time and you're educated, it will move slower than you want it to, but faster than you could have ever imagined. This is exactly what happened with Guard. Okay, I've been in Guard since launch, and you can see, we'll go to the daily here. You can see in the beginning, spread this out. In the beginning, things moved very, very slow for this first 6 months. Okay, it was just a small, consistent grind, raising the floor slowly. And Guard is actually paired with BUSD, so it's not tied to market conditions. That is in our projected plans for the future. Right now, we're tied with BNB, so we are subject to market conditions. Excuse me. So if you take a look at our chart, you'll see that we went 12x off a launch, which wasn't ideal for us, but we were like, all right, whatever. People see the value in this, and then we had a slow decline along with the market, pretty much all the way down. Okay, so this is basically what we're expecting, is just slowly raising the floor, removing risk, removing selling pressure until the market dictates that we have value and some bigger whales start to provide liquidity and move into the project. And that's when you'll start to see some of these larger jump ups, right? Now, the cool thing about our project is we have a treasury that is built in the farms on NightSwap. So we earn a large amount of yield every day that we are actually using to buy back our own supply, which provides price support, and it provides us the opportunity to get to pay for the tokens with our yield, not with our capital, but with our yield, so that we can get those tokens back so we can refill the rate on NightSwap or provide liquidity to another decentralized exchange, or whatever we want to do with those tokens. But instead of just getting those tokens for free, we're actually consistently buying back our own supply and providing our own buying pressure, while looking at removing selling pressure from holders by educating them and expanding their timeframes and helping them build a solvable problem. So I know that was probably a fire hose to the face for some of you guys. It's very complex, which is why I highly recommend that you go through and you watch the videos on our YouTube in order, because it will explain it step by step. I took a lot of time building those resources. Me and Michael had a lot of discussions about how to go about this, and how to educate people, and the sequencing and of the education, so that it would make sense. So do us a favor before you ask a bunch of questions, because I'm sure a lot of you will have a ton of questions. Go through those resources and educate yourself on the fundamentals. And then once you have a base understanding of what this asset is, how it's intended to be used, come and ask us some questions in the Telegram, and we're happy to answer them.
Fantastic presentation, Daniel, both intro and follow-up. Ladies and gentlemen, at DevCaf Society, we will have this information for you on our channel. Please do check out Forge Finance. I'm going to start recording right now. Daniel, Michael, if you're around, thank you very much.
Of course, man. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you. Wish you guys all the best here. It looks like you guys are building something cool.